The Emergency National Security Council meeting had been convened with Presidential Priority 1 classification at 2 a.m. on Sunday morning, as the most senior officials in American government rushed to the White House Situation Room to address what President Trump had characterized as the most serious breach of American national security in the nation's modern history. The fortified underground command center, designed to coordinate American responses to existential threats, now hosted the most critical gathering of American leadership ever assembled to address Attorney General Pam Bondi's urgent demand for immediate action against Iranian operatives who had achieved unprecedented penetration of American security systems. President Trump entered the Situation Room at precisely 2:15 a.m., his expression reflecting the gravity of intelligence briefings that had kept him awake for the past 6 hours, followed by Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, CIA Director John Ratcliffe, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff General C.Q. Brown. The assembled officials represented the highest levels of American executive authority, each carrying constitutional responsibility for protecting American national security. But none had anticipated the intelligence revelation they were about to receive from Attorney General Bondi. Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, distinguished members of the National Security Council, Attorney General Bondi began, her voice carrying the urgency of someone who had discovered intelligence that fundamentally challenged American assumptions about national security. I have demanded this emergency presidential briefing because Iranian operatives have achieved security breaches within the United States government, military, and intelligence systems that represent the most catastrophic compromise of American national security in our nation's history. She activated the Situation Room's most advanced classified display systems, revealing intelligence analysis that painted a terrifying picture of Iranian operational success that had penetrated the highest levels of American government, military command structures, intelligence agencies, and critical defense systems. The main screen showed a comprehensive security breach matrix displaying Iranian operative positions within federal agencies, military installations, intelligence organizations, and classified program access that struck at the very heart of American national security. What makes these security breaches unprecedented in American history is not just their scope, but their systematic nature and the level of classified access that Iranian operatives have achieved, Bondi continued, pointing to specific breach indicators displayed across the security visualization. Iranian operatives have not simply gathered intelligence about American capabilities. They have achieved active operational access to American government systems, military command networks, intelligence databases, and classified programs that control America's most sensitive national security operations. President Trump studied the security breach analysis with growing alarm, his decades of business experience immediately recognizing the catastrophic implications of the systematic compromise being displayed. Pam, when you say Iranian operatives have breached American security systems, are you telling me they have access to classified information and operational capabilities within our own government? Mr. President, that's exactly what our investigation has revealed. Iranian operatives have achieved what intelligence analysts are calling insider access to American government operations, military command systems, intelligence programs, and classified research that could compromise American national security across every domain of government activity. She clicked to the next section of the briefing, revealing detailed analysis of Iranian operative positioning within the highest levels of American government and military leadership. Unlike traditional espionage operations that rely on external intelligence gathering, Iranian operatives have systematically positioned themselves within American security systems with the operational access necessary to influence, manipulate, or sabotage American national security operations from within. The implications sent a chill through the room, filled with America's most senior leadership. Vice President Vance had spent years analyzing national security threats, but had never encountered evidence of such systematic foreign penetration of American government systems. Madam Attorney General, what kind of operational access do these Iranian operatives have to American government and military systems? Are we looking at intelligence gathering or actual operational control capabilities? Mr. Vice President, our analysis indicates that Iranian operatives have achieved what security analysts call administrative access to systems that could allow them to access classified information, influence policy decisions, manipulate intelligence assessments, and potentially sabotage critical government and military operations. She moved to a classified section of the briefing that revealed the most alarming intelligence about Iranian operative access to America's most sensitive government and military systems. For example, we have identified Iranian operatives with security clearances and operational access within the Department of Defense, Central Intelligence Agency, National Security Agency, Department of State, Department of Energy, and the Executive Office of the President itself. Secretary of Defense Hegseth leaned forward, studying the intelligence analysis with the expertise of someone who understood the catastrophic implications of foreign operative access to American military systems. Madam Attorney General, if Iranian operatives have security clearances and access to Defense Department systems, they could potentially access classified information about American military capabilities, operational plans, and strategic vulnerabilities that could compromise our ability to defend the nation. Secretary Hegseth, that appears to be exactly what Iranian operatives have accomplished. Our intelligence indicates they have been systematically accessing classified information about American military capabilities, intelligence operations, diplomatic activities, and strategic planning across every major aspect of American national security. She displayed technical analysis showing Iranian operative access to classified computer networks, secure communication systems, and intelligence databases that contained America's most sensitive national security information. Iranian operatives have achieved access to systems containing information about American military readiness, intelligence operations, diplomatic strategies, nuclear weapons programs, cyber warfare capabilities, and strategic defense planning. CIA Director Ratcliffe had been analyzing the intelligence implications of Iranian operative access to American classified systems. Madam Attorney General, our preliminary assessment indicates that Iranian operatives may have accessed classified information that could compromise ongoing intelligence operations, reveal American intelligence sources and methods, and potentially expose American personnel to foreign threats. Are we looking at intelligence damage that could take years to assess and address? Director Ratcliffe, that's exactly what we're facing. Iranian operatives appear to have accessed classified information across such a broad spectrum of American intelligence and military operations that assessing the full scope of compromise could take months or years of intensive investigation. The revelation that Iranian operatives had potentially compromised American intelligence operations and exposed American personnel to foreign threats represented a strategic intelligence disaster that could compromise American national security for decades. She activated another section of the briefing showing intercepted communications between Iranian operatives and Revolutionary Guard Corps intelligence headquarters in Tehran. We have communications intercepts showing Iranian operatives providing detailed intelligence reports to Tehran about American military capabilities, intelligence operations, diplomatic strategies, and government decision-making processes. National Security Advisor Waltz had been studying the policy implications of Iranian operative access to American government decision-making processes. Madam Attorney General, if Iranian operatives have been accessing information about American policy deliberations and strategic planning, they could potentially have been influencing American government decisions to serve Iranian interests. Are we looking at the possibility that Iranian operatives have been manipulating American policy from within our own government? Advisor Waltz, our analysis suggests that possibility cannot be ruled out. Iranian operatives with access to American government systems and decision-making processes could potentially have influenced policy recommendations, intelligence assessments, and strategic planning in ways that served Iranian rather than American interests. The possibility that Iranian operatives had been influencing American government policy from within the system represented a fundamental compromise of American sovereignty that demanded immediate and decisive response. Secretary of State Rubio had been analyzing the diplomatic implications of Iranian operative penetration of American government systems. Madam Attorney General, what's our assessment of Iranian operative access to diplomatic communications and foreign policy planning? Could they have compromised American diplomatic operations and international relationships? Secretary Rubio, Iranian operatives appear to have accessed classified diplomatic communications, foreign policy planning documents, and intelligence assessments about international relationships that could compromise American diplomatic operations worldwide. She revealed specific examples of Iranian operative access to diplomatic systems that could have catastrophic implications for American international relationships. Iranian operatives may have accessed communications with allied governments, intelligence sharing agreements, diplomatic strategies, and foreign policy assessments that could compromise American relationships with key international partners. Chairman of the Joint Chiefs General Brown had been studying the military implications of Iranian operative access to American defense systems. Madam Attorney General, what's our assessment of Iranian operative access to military command and control systems? Could they potentially interfere with American military operations or compromise our ability to respond to international threats? General Brown, that's one of our most serious concerns. Iranian operatives appear to have achieved access to military communication systems, operational planning networks, and command structures that could potentially compromise American military readiness and operational security. She displayed classified analysis showing Iranian operative access to military systems that controlled everything from logistics and personnel management to operational planning and strategic communications. If Iranian operatives have the access our analysis suggests, they could potentially interfere with military operations, compromise operational security, or even sabotage critical military systems during a national emergency or international conflict. The possibility that Iranian operatives could interfere with American military operations during a crisis represented an existential threat to American national security that demanded immediate military response. President Trump had been listening intently to the briefing, his expression growing more serious with each revelation about the scope of Iranian penetration of American security systems. Pam, I want you to coordinate the most comprehensive security investigation in American history. I don't care what it takes or what it costs. I want every Iranian operative identified, neutralized, and prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Mr. President, I'm prepared to implement Operation Security Restore, the most extensive government security investigation ever conducted. This will involve comprehensive security reviews of every federal agency, military command, and intelligence organization to identify and neutralize Iranian operative access while assessing and mitigating the damage they may have caused. The operation would require unprecedented coordination between every major government agency, military service, and intelligence organization. Phase 1 involves immediate security lockdown of all systems that may have been compromised by Iranian operatives. Phase 2 implements comprehensive personnel security investigations to identify Iranian operatives within government systems. Phase 3 executes arrests and prosecutions while implementing enhanced security protocols to prevent future foreign operative penetration. Vice President Vance studied the operational timeline with growing concern about the implications for government operations. Madam Attorney General, an operation of this scope could potentially disrupt normal government operations while we investigate and secure compromised systems. Are we prepared for the possibility that addressing Iranian security breaches could temporarily compromise our own government's operational capabilities? Mr. Vice President, we have no choice but to prioritize security over operational convenience. If Iranian operatives continue to have access to American government and military systems, they could potentially sabotage critical operations during any international crisis or emergency. The briefing continued for another 4 hours as senior officials analyzed every aspect of Iranian security breaches and developed comprehensive response strategies. Each revelation painted an increasingly alarming picture of Iranian operational success that had compromised American national security at the highest levels. As the National Security Council meeting concluded, President Trump addressed his senior officials with the gravity of a wartime commander facing an existential threat to American national security. Ladies and gentlemen, Attorney General Bondi has just revealed that Iranian operatives have achieved security breaches within our own government that represent the most serious threat to American national security since the founding of our republic. Foreign operatives have penetrated our most sensitive government and military systems with access to classified information that could compromise every aspect of American national security. He looked around the room at each senior official. This represents a fundamental attack on American sovereignty and the integrity of our government systems. We will respond with overwhelming force and absolute determination to root out every Iranian operative and restore the security of American government operations. The President's words carried the weight of a declaration of war against foreign operative penetration of American government systems. The revelation that Iranian operatives had achieved such extensive access to American classified information and operational capabilities had shocked even the most experienced national security professionals. As the officials dispersed to begin implementing Operation Security Restore, Attorney General Pam Bondi remained behind to coordinate with intelligence and security leadership. The discovery of Iranian operative security breaches within American government systems had revealed a threat that went beyond traditional espionage. It represented a systematic assault on the integrity and security of American government itself. Standing in the White House Situation Room, surrounded by classified displays showing the extent of Iranian penetration of American security systems, Bondi reflected on the magnitude of what American security forces would need to accomplish to restore the integrity of government operations. The Iranian intelligence services had achieved what may have been the most successful penetration of American government systems in history, positioning their operatives within the highest levels of American national security operations, with access to the most classified information and sensitive capabilities. But the Iranian security breaches had finally been discovered, and American security capabilities were mobilizing to root out every foreign operative and restore the integrity of government systems. The battle to secure American government operations would require the most comprehensive security investigation in the nation's history. Within hours of the White House briefing, Bondi had established a government security restoration task force that brought together every major federal agency, military service, and intelligence organization. The Department of Justice's National Security Division had been expanded to accommodate the largest government security operation in American history, where security specialists, federal agents, military investigators, and intelligence analysts worked around the clock to identify and neutralize Iranian operative access to American government systems. The first critical security discovery came from the FBI's Washington Field Office Counterintelligence Division, where Special Agent Jennifer Martinez had been investigating suspicious activities by Hassan Rezaieh, who held a top-secret security clearance and worked as a systems administrator for a major Department of Defense contractor. Madam Attorney General, Agent Martinez reported during the emergency operational briefing, "We have discovered that Rezaieh has been systematically accessing classified defense systems and downloading information about American military capabilities, weapon systems specifications, and strategic defense planning. He appears to have been operating as an Iranian intelligence asset for over 8 years. The possibility that Iranian operatives had been accessing America's most classified defense information for years represented a security breach that could compromise American military advantages that had been developed over decades of research and investment." Agent Martinez, what's our assessment of the scope of classified information that Rezaieh may have accessed and transmitted to Iranian intelligence services? Ma'am, based on our preliminary investigation, Rezaieh may have accessed classified information about virtually every major American weapon system, military technology development program, and strategic defense capability. The potential intelligence damage could be catastrophic. Meanwhile, the CIA's Security Division had been conducting an internal investigation of potential Iranian operative penetration of intelligence operations, discovering security breaches that could compromise ongoing operations and intelligence sources worldwide. Madam Attorney General, reported CIA Security Director Dr. Michael Rodriguez, "We have identified potential Iranian operative access to CIA operational databases, intelligence source information, and ongoing operation details that could compromise American intelligence activities globally and potentially expose intelligence assets to foreign threats." The possibility that Iranian operatives had accessed information about CIA operations and intelligence sources represented a security breach that could result in the exposure and potential execution of American intelligence assets worldwide. Special Agent Lisa Thompson from the FBI's Counterintelligence Division had been investigating Iranian operative activities within the Department of State, discovering access to diplomatic communications and foreign policy planning that could compromise American international relationships. Madam Attorney General, Agent Thompson reported during the evening briefing, Iranian operatives appear to have accessed classified diplomatic communications between American officials and allied governments, potentially compromising American diplomatic relationships and international intelligence sharing agreements. The possibility that Iranian operatives had accessed diplomatic communications with allied governments represented a security breach that could fundamentally damage American international relationships and compromise cooperative intelligence operations. Dr. Patricia Williams from the Department of Energy's Office of Intelligence and Counterintelligence had been investigating Iranian operative access to information about American nuclear weapons programs and energy security operations. Madam Attorney General, Dr. Williams reported, Iranian operatives may have accessed classified information about American nuclear weapons capabilities, nuclear facility security protocols, and strategic energy infrastructure that could compromise both American nuclear security and energy independence. The strategic implications were staggering. Iranian operative access to information about American nuclear capabilities could potentially compromise American strategic deterrence and provide hostile foreign powers with intelligence that could be used to develop countermeasures against American nuclear forces. As intelligence continued to flow in from security investigations across every major government agency and military organization, the true scope of Iranian security breaches became clearer. This was not just espionage, it was a comprehensive assault on the integrity and security of American government operations that had been conducted with remarkable sophistication and success over many years. Standing in the Government Security Restoration Task Force Command Center, surrounded by security specialists and federal agents working to identify and neutralize Iranian operative access to American government systems, Attorney General Pam Bondi knew that the battle to restore government security would require the most extensive security investigation in American history. The Iranian intelligence services had achieved unprecedented access to American government and military systems, positioning their operatives to access classified information and potentially influence or sabotage American operations from within the system itself. But the Iranian security breaches had finally been discovered, and American security capabilities were mobilizing to demonstrate that the United States would defend the integrity of its government systems with overwhelming force and absolute determination. Operation Security Restore would mark the beginning of the most comprehensive government security investigation in American history, designed to identify every Iranian operative, assess every security breach, and restore American confidence in the integrity of government systems. Attorney General Pam Bondi was determined to prove that while Iranian operatives had achieved remarkable success in penetrating American security systems, the ultimate victory would belong to American security forces defending the integrity of American government against all foreign threats.